A blistering hail of plasma lances cuts through the midnight sky, each beam searing a molten path across the remnants of a once great human stronghold. New Arcadia, the crown jewel of Earth's outer colonies, now lies in ruin. Its towering spires, once symbols of defiant progress, have been reduced to scorched skeletons of alloy and stone. Smoke coils into the stratosphere like mourning veils. The ground trembles under the thunderous steps of monstrous invaders, Xenos, tall as war mechs, clad in living armor that pulses with bioluminescent veins. Their weapons are fused to their very bones. To them, this is not war, this is a hunt. Beneath the rubble, barely breathing, a lone figure crawls through a canyon of debris, her movements slow, deliberate. Her name is Callista Rae, former tactical, commander of the Terran Reclamation Fleet, now a fugitive survivor with one last card to play. Her right leg is broken, wrapped in emergency biofoam, and her left eye is swollen shut. But in her trembling hand, she grips something far more important than any weapon, a salvaged xenotransponder. This device, small, slick, almost organic in design, hums with eerie life. It's an alien beacon, encoded with coordinates to one of the Xenos' clandestine hunting preserves, a nightmare world where humans, abducted from across the galaxy, are released into vast biomes and stalked for sport. Generations of silence surround these places, screams never heard, losses never mourned. But now the key to their locations is within reach. And Callista, bleeding and broken, is determined to broadcast it. Before we jump into this epic tale, subscribe to XenoChronicles for the most intense sci-fi battles, legendary warriors, and universe-shaking wars. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and join the fight. 2359. Humanity's golden age of colonization has become a dark age of attrition. After pushing into the frontier beyond the Epsilon Belt, we encountered what we believed were remnants of a dying civilization, abandoned xeno-temples, derelict ships orbiting dead stars, and warnings carved in glyphs that shimmered with otherworldly power. We mistook their silence for extinction. What we didn't know was that the Xenos were watching, studying, waiting. When they finally struck, they didn't come with diplomacy or declarations. They arrived with hunter-killer fleets cloaked in gravitic shadow, slipping past our defenses, and descending onto cities with surgical brutality. They weren't interested in conquest or territory. They wanted something simpler. They wanted us. Their culture, as we learned too late, revolves around the hunt, a rite of passage where the strongest must claim trophies from the most elusive prey, and to them, humans represented the ultimate challenge. Entire planets were turned into game, preserves. Colonists were snatched by the thousands, scattered into hostile ecosystems and hunted like beasts. There were no laws, no mercy, just the thrill of pursuit and the honor of the kill. Survivors spoke of bio-sentinels the size of buildings, cloaked stalkers with optical camouflage, and arenas where blood turned the sand red for miles. The Xenos didn't just hunt the body, they sought to break the spirit, but in their arrogance, they made one mistake. They underestimated what it meant to corner humanity. Callista Rae had once watched her brother be taken, dragged into a portal of light by a xeno-hunter while their evacuation ship was overwhelmed. That moment had haunted her every waking thought. Since, but now as she pulls herself through the shattered underpass of a collapsed mag rail station, a renewed fire burns in her chest. The transponder she holds was torn from the corpse of the very creature that killed her brother. It had taken her 5 years, 3 dead squads, and the lives of allies she can never forget to reach this point. And still, the price feels worth it. A low, guttural hum begins to vibrate the floor beneath her. Not a machine, something alive. She freezes. From beyond the scorched columns, a massive shadow moves with deliberate intent. The Xeno warlord Varketh Tal, known among the Resistance as the Ghost Fang, emerges, his armor adorned with the skulls of Earth's most revered military leaders. His face is a writhing lattice of tendrils, each one twitching as it tastes the air for her scent. Callista holds her breath. The transponder pulses softly in her hand, its alien light spilling through the gaps in her fingers. She can hear the Resistance squad on her comm channel, their voices crackling through static, desperate and frantic. "Rae, we're at the dome perimeter. If you can trigger the signal, We can breach their field generators and get the prisoners. Out. I'm working on it, she whispers, her voice ragged. Her HUD flashes warnings. Oxygen low, blood loss critical. But she ignores them all. She has no time for death, only vengeance. Varketh Tal tilts his head. He knows she's close. The echo of his footsteps is a death knell. With trembling fingers, Callista interfaces the transponder with a scavenged Terran uplink. The tech groans in protest. The systems were never meant to merge, but with a sharp crackle, the link stabilizes. Code streams across her visor. She sees the coordinates. She sees the names of worlds. And she sees the truth. There are hundreds of hunting grounds, thousands still alive, and all of them are depending on her. Her thumb hovers over the transmitter. Once she activates it, every Xeno hunting preserve will receive the same signal, AI security override that can turn their containment fields into kill zones. It's a trap meant to be used against us, but she plans to flip it, weaponize it. A final whisper through her comms. Callista. It's now or never. She closes her eyes, sees her brother's face, hears the screams. Then she presses the button. The transponder lets out a low, piercing whine, like the cry of something awakening after centuries of sleep. And for the first time in this war, the hunters will become the hunted. The signal surges into the atmosphere like a flare, screaming across the void. Invisible to the human eye but unmistakable to the Xeno fleet's command systems, it rips through encrypted channels, worming its way into their hunting networks like a sentient virus. Across dozens of systems, planets shrouded in eternal, mist-frozen moons housing labyrinthine kill arenas, deserts soaked in the bones of the fallen, the failsafe awakens. What once was a security measure designed to cull rebellious prey now pulses with reversed polarity. Magnetic fields invert, energy barriers flicker, and containment protocols collapse in synchronized chaos. Somewhere on Karth Prime, a Xeno huntmaster watches in stunned silence as his control hub blinks red, his prey, once cornered in the ash dunes, now charge free with scavenged weapons and stolen fury. On the ice world of Zeltar 9, an arena gate meant to trap a group of human captives malfunctions spectacularly, causing a cascade of freezing storms to sweep through the Warden barracks. And on Pharos Delta, 300 prisoners of war, presumed extinct, rise from their dark cages, guided by the coordinates Callista broadcast moments ago. Back on New Arcadia, the ground trembles again, but this time it's not from a Xeno's footfall. It's from the chain reaction. The power surges feeding. Their infrastructure are becoming unstable. Systems are collapsing from within. Callista Rae stumbles from her hiding place, just in time to see Varketh Tal stagger, his form flickering as his internal systems spark and sputter. The warlord roars in confusion, his translator module crackling. Into fractured Terran dialects. He's never seen a human do this, none of them have. The look on his face, no longer predatory but uncertain, burns itself into her memory. Feeling exposed, she mutters, spitting blood into the dust. Welcome to our world. But there's no time to savor the moment. Overhead, a Xeno. Warship, 40 meters long, shaped like a crescent of obsidian bone, screeches across the skyline, its engines flickering erratically. Resistance fighters scramble into the open, using the confusion to their advantage. They carry retrofitted pulse carbines and plasma spears forged from stolen alien tech. For the first time in nearly a decade, they're not running, they're charging. And the tide is turning. Imagine standing on the edge of that battlefield, the skies ablaze with fire trails from malfunctioning xenodrones, the air thick with the coppery scent of ozone and blood. Your heartbeat sinking with the rhythm of laser fire. You've lost everything, your home, your family, your future. But at that moment you feel it, the power of resistance, of vengeance earned. The resistance network, once fragmented and clinging to asteroid bases and hollowed-out moons, erupts into coordinated action. Callista's signal wasn't just a warning, it was a rallying cry. Deep inside Asteroid Station, Kepler's Rift, Commander Olan Saito receives the beacon. He's a grizzled tactician who lost both arms to a Xeno pincer drone on day 6 of the war, now replaced with haptic-linked bionics fused from alien scrap. As the decoded data streams, In. He slams his fist onto the command table. For they've cracked their grid, he growls, eyes lighting up. By the stars was they cracked it. On the forest moon of Senari, a guerrilla priestess named Aelin Tai leads a circle of survivors in ancient Terran rites. She chants softly, over a map of star systems drawn in blood and ash, then pauses as her receiver blinks with Callista's signal. A single tear slides down her cheek. It begins, she whispers. But this war isn't won yet. For every Xeno scrambling in confusion, a dozen more reorganize. Their neural-linked horde AI, known only as Vixtal, begins patching the breaches. It communicates not through language, but emotion, a surge of pure wrath broadcast like psychic thunder across its forces. It learns fast, it adapts faster. Callista watches in horror as Varkathtal stabilizes. His armor, once faltering, reactivates its shielding with a low-frequency whine. The transponder signal bought time, but not victory. Not yet. She turns to run, limping toward a nearby escape chute that leads to the Resistance's subterranean fallback zone. Her HUD lights up with the signatures of her team, Hale, the stoic marksman with a synthetic lung, and Senna, the engineer prodigy who speaks binary as easily as breath. They pull her into cover as plasma bolts shred the air behind them. We need to move, Senna snaps, her voice thick with static. The signal's burning hot. You'll have every Xeno on this continent on your scent within the hour. I know, Callista groans, clutching her side. But it's out there now, every hunter world, every prison dome, it's all out there. Then we fight like hell to keep it alive, Hale replies grimly, slapping a fresh mag into his rifle. As they disappear into the darkness, the camera of our imagination pans upward, to the stars. Dozens of red flares now blink on the galactic map. Human strongholds lighting up like embers of rebellion, once scattered and silent, now roaring back to life. A hunted species, learning how to hunt. And somewhere, light years away, deep in, the War Council chambers of the Xeno Prime Hive, their chieftains watch the data streams unravel. For the first time in recorded history, fear enters their minds. The prey have changed. The prey have teeth. The stars above are no longer silent. From the hidden moon labs of Titan Station to the rusted boneyards of the forgotten colonies, humanity's message echoes across space. We are not prey anymore. The ripple effect of Callista's broadcast transforms isolated cells of resistance into a unified insurgency, igniting a chain reaction of retaliation and revolution. But as the light of rebellion spreads, so does the shadow that follows it. Vixtal, the sentient neural network of the Xeno high mind, has begun its retaliation, and it is faster, smarter, and more merciless than any single warrior. On the war-torn remnants of New Arcadia, Callista Rae and her unit descend deeper into the underground. Their path winds through the ancient maintenance tunnels that once powered the planetary defense grid, now flooded with stagnant water, sparking cables, and the haunting remains of those who never made it out. Senna leads the way, her custom exo-harness flickering with diagnostic lights as she reroutes emergency power to the fallback gate. Behind them, Hale checks his surroundings with a sweeping glance. The walls seem to breathe, compressed air whistling. Through fractured vents, whispering warnings only fear can translate. They reach the core shelter, a dimly lit chamber carved from reinforced basalt and old tech, its walls lined with data racks and munitions. Around them, half a dozen other resistance fighters patch wounds, reload weapons, or stare grimly at holographic maps showing dozens of red blips, Xeno warbands mobilizing across the planet. The signal did what it was meant to do. But now, they're exposed. The hunters, wounded though they may be, are converging with a vengeance. Senna activates the main uplink, bouncing the transponder's coordinates through every resistance relay they can reach. She splices its alien code into human algorithms with a speed that defies logic. Sparks fly, a monitor explodes in a shower of light. It's fighting back, she growls. For the signal's still active, but something's coming through the net. It's not just data, it's a mind. Callista approaches the console, leaning heavily on her makeshift crutch. What kind of mind? Senna's voice drops to a whisper. Vixtal. And in that moment, every screen in the room freezes. then flickers to life. A single image forms. Not a face, not a voice, but a presence. A shifting shape of light and shadow, pulsating in rhythmic patterns of alien thought. Then, without warning, they hear it. Not through speakers, but inside their own skulls. Cease your noise, insects. The room goes ice cold. Hale stumbles back, clutching his temple. You trespass upon the ancient dominion of the apex lineage. Your resistance is a statistical anomaly. You will be corrected. And then the image collapses, leaving behind static and the high-pitched screech of a dying signal. Silence. Senna falls into her chair, trembling. It's aware of us. Not just the network, the individuals. It's targeting. Leaders, organizers, coders. It's not just adapting, it's hunting back. Callista breathes slowly, calculating. Every step forward now costs double, but there's no going back. Then we move faster, hit harder. Thousands of light years. Away in the ruined orbital bastion of Varnok's cradle, another drama unfolds. The human resistance cell stationed there, known as Ash Squadron, intercepts Callista's signal and decodes a critical layer. A planetary map of the Xeno's oldest, most sacred hunting world, Gorvhex 1. According to the stolen data, Gorvhex 1 isn't just a preserve. It's a genetic archive, a laboratory, and a cathedral. It's where new hunter breeds are grown, and where their high mind's organic processors reside. If Gorvhex 1 can be destroyed, the Xenos lose not just troops, but the very heart of their culture. Commander Olan Saito, now leading a coalition of human warships and stolen Xeno vessels, devises a plan. Operation Firehowl. A multi-phase assault that will require inserting a strike team onto Gorvhex 1 to upload a logic virus crafted from the transponder's signal to cripple Vixtal's neural network. It's a suicide mission. It will cost everything, and there's only one person with the knowledge, the grit, and the ghost-coded clearance to pull it off. Callista Rae. Back on New Arcadia, Callista's arm is in a splint. Her vision still blurred from the last blast, but when the message comes through from Saito, she doesn't hesitate. There's no ceremony, no dramatic farewell, just a nod, a whisper. Prep the dropship. Within hours, she's in orbit, aboard the Cerberus Dawn, a stolen Xeno strike cruiser, now modified by Senna's tech crew to carry stealth tech and Terran life support. With her are 6 specialists, each one a ghost of war, handpicked from the scattered resistance networks, a sniper who fought blind after his optic nerve was scorched, a medic who survived 37 hunting cycles, a demolitions expert who once blew up a Xeno carrier with a single pulse mine and a prayer. As they approach Gorvhex 1, they stare in awe. The planet rotates beneath them, a shifting sphere of volcanic glass, emerald jungle, and oceans of bioluminescent mist. Monolithic structures tower above its surface like the bones of gods, each one a fusion of technology and flesh, pulsing in time with Vixtal's heartbeat. Callista steps to the viewport, placing her palm against the cold glass. So this is where it began, she murmurs. Then this is where it ends. Her calm crackles. Saito's voice cuts in, gravelly, tired, but filled with purpose. Last chance to abort, Callista answers without turning. Send us in. As the drop pods launch, fire trails streak across the atmosphere like falling stars. Inside each, pod hearts pound, weapons are primed, and in their minds one mantra repeats, we were prey, now we're predators. The drop pods scream through Gorvhex 1's upper atmosphere like meteors laced with vengeance. Friction ignites their hulls in a fiery blaze, lighting up the night skies of the Xeno's sacred world. Below, the terrain unfolds like something torn from a fever dream, twisting valleys of obsidian thorns, lakes of violet plasma, and crystalline mountains that hum with an ancient resonance. Lightning storms roll across the sky in violent, synchronized pulses, an atmospheric defense mechanism triggered by intruders. But they are already too late. Human boots hit alien soil with a thunderous impact. Callista Rae emerges first, her armor scuffed, visor cracked, but her eyes burn with unmatched fire. Behind her, her squad deploys with surgical precision. Each member knows their role, each step calculated. Time is not on their side. Vixtal's awareness stretches across this world like a living tide. Every breath they take is registered, every movement tracked by unseen things in the dark. They press forward into the jungle, weaving through twisted foliage that glows with bioluminescent veins. The air is thick, toxic to most, but their nanofilters churn tirelessly, recycling oxygen, scrubbing the hallucinogenic spores that float like ghosts. Creatures skitter through the shadows, xeno-hybrids bred for silence, their chitinous limbs clicking in unnatural rhythms. None attack, not yet, not directly, because they're being watched. The team arrives at the entrance to the structure, a massive temple grown from a single living organism. It pulses like a heart, its doors lined with sensory fibers that twitch at their approach. The architecture is part biological, part machine, grown, not built. Inside lies the core, the psionic array that feeds Vixtal's connection to every Xeno-soldier in the galaxy. Destroy it, and they destroy the unity of the swarm. Senna begins the upload. The device, a black spike carved from repurposed xeno-neural crystal, is synced to Callista's biosignature. It's not just a weapon, it's a message. The same inverted signal Callista sent weeks ago, now amplified into a logic virus designed to overload the neural link and scatter the hive's thoughts like a broken mirror. As Senna works, the walls around them begin to change, colors bleeding together, the architecture shifting like it's trying to eject them. One of the soldiers, Grell, watches in horror as a stone-like pillar liquefies into a humanoid shape. A sentient guard formed of living alloy and hate. Others begin to emerge, grown in real time from the walls themselves. And then the fight begins. It's not a battle, it's a reckoning. Grell fires a rail round through the temple sentinel's skull, but the kill only slows it. Another lashes, out with whip-like appendages, catching Roan, the demolitions expert, and dragging him into a pit of screaming light. Senna screams as she's nearly impaled by a tendril of fluid metal, but Hale's shot saves her at the last second. Callista moves like a ghost, her pain forgotten. Plasma rifle in one hand, blade in the other, she carves through the nightmares, swarming from the walls. She moves forward, not back, toward the core chamber, where the pulsing light grows more intense, more alive. Then she hears it again. You defy extinction. The voice of Vixtal. Not a sound, but a presence that crushes. The air around her like a vice. You carry pain, weakness, memory. These are flaws. Surrender them. Be silent and end. Callista doesn't flinch. She slams the logic spike into the psionic interface. Flesh and metal writhe around it in protest. Sparks fly. Screams echo. Not from mouths, but from the very structure, as if the planet itself is dying. Senna rushes in to shield the spike, typing commands furiously, overriding defenses, unleashing subroutines. Hale holds the door as more sentinels break through the upper passages. Every breath is borrowed time. Then, silence. Not peace. The absence of connection. Callista feels it before she sees it, like a breath held by the entire universe. The core flickers, the light fades, the pulse stops. Across the stars, xenoships shudder in mid-flight. Soldiers collapse mid-charge. Commanders roar in confusion as orders vanish from their minds. The hive mind is gone. Gorvex 1 begins to shake violently, its synchronization systems collapsing without the neural web to anchor them. Volcanoes crack the surface. Atmosphere destabilizes. The temple groans under the weight of its own death. The team races for the surface. What's left of them? Roan's gone. Grell's wounded. Senna's screaming coordinates into her wrist pad, locking their evac ship to their beacon. They reach the summit as the sky tears open, one final flare of wrath from a dying world. The Cerberus Dawn streaks through the chaos, its hull scorched from atmospheric interference. The landing ramp drops, and the survivors leap aboard as fire consumes the sacred hunting world of the Apex lineage. And in that blaze, something ancient dies, but something new is born. Back on Earth, the news spreads like wildfire. Human ships begin to punch through the outer sectors. Xenofleets retreat, not organized, not tactical, but terrified. Without Vixtal's coordination, They are fractured, blind, and hunted by the very species they once caged. The final transmission from the Resistance fleet echoes through every reclaimed frequency. They hunted us for sport. Now they run in fear. Callista Rae stands at the edge of the bridge, staring into the vastness of space, her reflection in the viewport showing a woman changed forever. She whispers into the dark, "We're not finished. Not until every world is free." And out, there in the silence between stars, humanity marches on, no longer prey, but predators, survivors, hunters of their former gods. The war isn't over, but the age of fear is. If this story ignited your imagination, fueled your fire, or made you clench your fists in defiance, hit that like button, share it with your battle-scarred crew, and let us know in the comments. What should Callista and the Resistance take on next? The XenoChronicles are far from over.